What's going on, guys? It's etaprime back here again. Today we're going to be taking a look at the all-new Nubia Red Magic 3S gaming smartphone. This is an amazing handset packed with the latest tech, and it comes in at a starting price of $479, much cheaper than 99% of all other flagship smartphones. And as it sits right now, it's actually one of the most powerful Android devices that you can purchase. So in this video, I'm going to go over the specs and features, and then we'll get right into some gaming, because this is what the phone was really made for. Android gaming on the go or emulation. With a base price of $479, I think this is an awesome buy if you've been looking for a high-end gaming Android smartphone. Inside of the box, you're obviously going to receive the Red Magic 3S, USB Type-C charging cable, and an 18-watt fast charger. This phone is packed with the latest Snapdragon 855 Plus, 8 to 12 gigabytes of RAM, and 128 to 256 gigabytes of storage. Unfortunately, one of the downsides to these Red Magic phones is no micro SD card slot, and I guess they do that as kind of a marketing thing so they can have several different tiers of these, like I mentioned, 128 or 256. So before you make your purchase, you got to decide how much stuff you want to store on this phone, because we do not have expandable storage. Around back, we do have an RGB strip that can be programmed from within the settings menu. And one of my favorite features about these Red Magic phones is the built-in cooling fan. We have the fan around back. This is going to pull air in and keep that CPU and GPU cool and exhaust it right out of the side here. So there's no need to worry about that CPU hitting thermal throttle and lowering the performance of your phone. This thing can go all day at max CPU frequencies with no issues at all. Speaking of the CPU, this has the all-new Snapdragon 855 Plus. This is a 7nm chip, Octa-core. One core at 2.96 GHz. Now this is the single prime core that's been overclocked by 120 MHz over the original Snapdragon 855. The rest of the core stays the same, 3 at 2.42 and 4 at 1.8. The GPU is the Adreno 640, but this has been overclocked by 15% over the original 855 to 700 MHz. As of making this video, there are two variants of this phone. You can get one with 8 GB of RAM and 128 GB of storage, or 12 GB of RAM and 256 GB of storage. But no matter which variant you get, it will be packing LPDDR4X RAM. This is packing a 90Hz AMOLED display at 6.65 inches with a resolution of 1080 by 2340. The screen looks amazing on this thing. Dual front-facing stereo speakers with DTS XU1tra sound, 802.11 ABGN and AC dual-band Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 5.0, GPS built-in, a 48 megapixel rear camera, 16 megapixel front camera, these are both Sony sensors in here, a 5000 milliamp hour battery with 18 watt fast charging capabilities, and the operating system is Android 9.0 with Red Magic UI 2.0. Unfortunately, the 3S does not have NFC built in, but it does have a rear fingerprint sensor that's actually pretty quick to unlock the device. And over here on the left hand side, we have this little switch, and this will put us into Red Magic mode, which is pretty much a game launcher. It actually works out pretty well. Puts the phone in landscape mode. You can add and delete apps from here. We can also control the fan and the RGB on the back. There's a screen recording mode. You can stop incoming calls and text messages from bothering you while you're playing a game. And you can also set it up in a gaming boost mode. So when you start your favorite game or app, it'll clear all the background apps that are running and just release some RAM for you, giving you a little more overhead for the game you want to run. In general, everyday use on the phone is super fast, and it's using that UFS storage, so loading stuff up from internal storage is really quick. Over the past few months, I've been testing out a lot of these gaming smartphones, and I kind of wanted to compare them to each other, so I ran a lot of benchmarks on all of these phones. First up, we have Geekbench 4. This is single core. At the very top, we have the Galaxy S10, then the Red Magic 3, the new ROG Phone 2, and at the very bottom, the Red Magic 3S. Now, the Red Magic 3S actually came out on top of all of these scores just by a bit over the ROG Phone 2, and I really think it has to do with that built-in cooling fan because it does keep that chip from thermal throttling. So we can get through these benchmarks with the CPU and GPU at its maximum frequencies. But where the 855 Plus really shines is GPU performance, because we have that 15% overclock from the original 855. And as you can see here with the 3D Mark Slingshot benchmark in OpenGL and Vulkan, it kills the original 855. Not to mention the N227 benchmark, which comes in on these 855 Plus phones over 400,000. Now keep in mind this is N227, it can't be compared with N228, but I did run an N228 and we're over 500,000 on this score. So overall, these handsets powered by the Snapdragon 855 Plus are some of the highest benchmarking Android devices that I've ever tested. And I'm sure a new chip will be out next year, so this is what we have right now, and performance is looking absolutely amazing. Now it's time to get into some gaming because that's what this phone was designed for. Here we have PUBG Mobile, HDR, Extreme FPS. We're definitely running at 60 FPS. I haven't noticed any stutters, but unfortunately this phone does not have a built-in FPS counter, so there's truly no way to tell. But overall, the experience has been ultra smooth on this device. Next up, we have Call of Duty Mobile. It's set to the highest preset and the highest frame rate. Performance on this device with this game is outstanding. I also wanted to test out some Android games that natively support controllers. Now in this video I'm going to be using the Xbox One S controller, but the Red Magic 3S does fit in the GLAP controller. These are both Bluetooth controllers and they're compatible with Android. Obviously Minecraft Pocket Edition is going to work great on this phone, but I still wanted to throw it in this video, and as you can see here, performance is great. Here's Fortnite. I'm just getting a little fishing done. Now, unfortunately, we can't go to 60 FPS. That's really up to Epic to add that option. But it works great on the highest detail setting and 30. I'm sure it'll work great on the highest detail setting in 60 if and when they start adding it to phones besides Galaxy devices. And I really wish they would do this sooner than later. So basically, with the Red Magic 3S, any game that's available on the Google Play Store will be able to be played at full detail and full frame rate. The chipset used in this device is an absolute beast, and it can handle any native Android game at the highest settings. But how does it handle emulation? Now in this video, I'm only going to be testing a few systems, but I do have a full emulation test video coming up on the Red Magic 3S, so if you're interested in seeing that, definitely stay tuned to the channel. I'll be testing a lot more games and systems in that video, but for this one, I want to go through a little bit of Gamecube using the Dolphin emulator. We'll move over to Sega Saturn, and then finally we'll top it off with some 3DS emulation using the Citra MMJ port. Now keep in mind that the Citra port for Android is relatively new, and there's no phone on the market right now that can run all of these games at full speed. It really comes down to the emulator itself. But we'll still take a look at performance on this device. So first up, we have some Sega Saturn emulation using RetroArch and the Yobasa and Shiro core. I'm still using that Xbox One Bluetooth controller. Performance seems to be really good, and I chose Sega Rally Championship because it does struggle on lower end ARM devices. But here, we got full speed. Next up, we have some 3DS, and I'm using the Citra MMJ build. As you can see here, we're definitely not at full speed, but performance is actually pretty decent on this device. Like I mentioned, this is still a very early build of this emulator, and no ARM-based phone or tablet at the time of making this video has the capabilities of running this at full speed. But overall, for what it is, performance on the Red Magic 3S seems pretty decent. And finally, at least for this video, we have the Dolphin emulator running Metroid Prime. Up in the top right hand corner, we have the FPS listed. I am using the Vulkan backend, and performance is really good on this device. This emulator's come a long way on Android in the last year, and the Snapdragon 855 Plus chips handle it really well. So if you're interested in seeing more emulation tests on the Red Magic 3S, definitely hit that subscribe button because I got a video coming up very soon. Overall, I think the Red Magic 3S is a great Android gaming smartphone. We have that cooling fan built in, 8 to 12 gigs of RAM, and the Snapdragon 855 Plus. Those specs paired with this 6.6-inch AMOLED display and a 5000 mAh battery definitely make it a killer gaming device. And the price really isn't that bad either. You can get the 8GB model, which you saw tested in this video, for $479, and I believe it starts shipping on October 16th. And if you're interested in picking one of these up, I will leave links to their website in the description. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I really appreciate you watching. If there's anything else you want to see running on the Red Magic 3S, just let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more emulation on this device. It'd also be really cool if you could hit that like button. But like always, thanks for watching.